You just became poorer. Not by market crash. Not by bad luck, but by holding something in your safe that isn't what you paid for it to be. Right now, somewhere in America, a man is opening his safe. He's counting the silver bars he's been collecting for 15 years. Each bar represents weeks of overtime, missed family dinners, sacrifice. He thinks he's looking at his retirement. He's actually looking at worthless metal, and he has no idea. This is the story nobody wants to talk about. The crisis the government is ignoring, and why everything you thought you understood about storing wealth just became dangerous. Welcome back. This didn't start with conspiracy. It started with math. When silver was $15 an ounce, counterfeiting wasn't worth it. You'd spend $100 to make 80. That's a loss. But last year, when silver hit $30, everything changed. When you can produce a fake 10-ounce bar for $40 and sell it for $800, you're making $760 per bar. Multiply that by 5,000 bars a month. That's $3.8 million in profit. Suddenly, counterfeiting became a business. Not a small criminal operation. A business, an industry, something worth billions of dollars. And here's what nobody tells you, it's already here. A major bullion dealer in the Midwest was contacted by a customer who wanted to sell back his collection. 500 ounces. The dealer placed the first bar on the testing machine. Every metric came back perfect. Weight, dimensions, purity. Surface showed 99.9% pure silver. Then the dealer did something unusual. He drilled into the second bar. The drill bit hit something hard. Too hard. The silver peeled away like paint. Underneath, tungsten. Gray, worthless, tungsten. They tested the rest of the stack. 40% was counterfeit. This wasn't an isolated case. This was the moment everything broke. You need to understand how sophisticated this has become. Because the counterfeits you're imagining, Speed, obvious fakes don't exist anymore. The factories making these aren't hidden in basement. They're in industrial parks in Shenzhen, China. Clean buildings, modern equipment, precision machinery running 24 hours a day. And here's the thing that keeps investigators awake at night. It's completely legal. Chinese law allows replica coin and bar production. As long as they're sold as novelty items, the factories can operate openly. They list products on Alibaba. Educational samples, they call them. Collectible replicas. But once those items leave China, the disclaimers disappear. The engineering is stunning. They take a real silver bar and drill out the center. They insert a tungsten rod. Tungsten has almost identical density to silver. Then they seal the hole with real silver. The surface is polished. The mint marks are laser engraved with such precision that even experts struggle to see the difference at first glance. But that's the basic version. The newest generation uses what's called multi-layer construction. Tungsten core, wrapped in copper, then nickel, then a thick coating of 999 pure silver on the outside. Each layer is designed to defeat a different test. Weigh the bar. It weighs right. The tungsten core ensures that. Use a magnet. Real silver's response. Perfect. Use a conductivity machine, the standard testing equipment most dealers have. It only reads the surface. The electrical current doesn't penetrate deep enough to find the tungsten beneath. The fake passes. Every single test. This is the problem in 3 sentences. The technology of the fraud has outpaced the technology of detection. Most retail investors do not own equipment to detect advanced counterfeits. And by the time they discover it, they're holding worthless metal instead of wealth. How does this poison get into your local coin shop? The system is built on plausible deniability. A person walks into a shop with 1,000 ounces to sell. The dealer cannot test every piece. That would take weeks. So they test the top and bottom layers. If those pass, they assume the rest is good. The counterfeits know this. They stack real silver on top, fakes in the middle, real silver on bottom. The dealer tests, passes, buys the entire stack. The contaminated inventory enters the legitimate market. That silver gets bought by people like you. People who trust they're buying from a legitimate dealer. People who don't have the equipment to verify. People who think a shop's reputation is protection enough. It isn't. But here's where it gets worse. The digital marketplaces have become the primary distribution channel. Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Craigslist. A person in Ohio lists American Eagles. The buyer in Texas can't verify authenticity before purchase. They see photos, good reviews, they hit buy, the package arrives. Everything looks perfect. Weight is right. Appearance is right. The buyer adds it to their safe, believing they've purchased wealth. Years later, when they try to sell, the truth comes out, and by then, there's no recourse. One man in Arizona discovered $30,000 of his silver was fake. He filed an insurance claim. It was denied. The insurance company classified it as a bad investment, not theft. His policy didn't cover financial losses from buying fake assets. $30,000 evaporated. No legal pathway to recover it. The seller disappeared. The marketplace refused responsibility. His family's financial future destroyed by metal that looked identical to the real thing. This is where the story shifts from crime to something darker: institutional indifference. The U.S. Secret Service was originally created to combat counterfeiting. For 100 years, investigating fake currency was their primary mission. But in recent decades, their focus shifted. Presidential protection became priority. Cybercrime consumed resources. Counterfeit bullion enforcement fell to the bottom. People discover fake silver. They file reports with the FBI. Those reports sit in databases for months, sometimes years, with no follow-up. Local police lack expertise. It falls outside jurisdiction. The result: enforcement vacuum. Dealers who get caught selling counterfeits claim ignorance. They say they were victims too. Often they're telling the truth. But the lack of prosecution sends a message. Why invest in expensive testing equipment when there are no consequences for selling fakes? The government's indifference isn't accidental. For decades, officials have promoted paper assets over physical metals: stocks, bonds, digital currencies, anything that keeps wealth inside the trackable financial system. A thriving physical silver market represents a threat to that control. When the counterfeit crisis destroys confidence in physical metals, it serves their interests. Even if unintentionally, the factories in Shenzhen keep running. The shipments keep arriving. The fakes keep spreading, and the people who should be stopping it are looking the other way. Something historic is happening right now. The silver market is splitting into two entirely different markets. On one side, verified silver. Every bar tested with advanced equipment, XRF machines, ultrasonic testers. Every coin authenticated through multiple methods. These products command premiums climbing higher every month. A dealer with XRF testing charges an extra 5% verification fee. Customers pay it because they have no choice. On the other side, untested silver. Lower prices, higher risk. Private sellers. Online listings with no documentation. Estate sales, where authenticity is unknown. The price gap between these markets grows weekly. An American Eagle from a certified dealer. $8 over spot price. The same coin from a private seller with no testing. $3 over spot price. That $5 difference represents the cost of trust. Economic principles are reshaping the market in real time. When fraud becomes widespread, verification becomes valuable. The cost of certainty gets transferred from dealer to customer, and customers pay because the alternative is unacceptable. But here's what's terrifying. Even the testing technology is being defeated. The Sigma metalytics machine, the industry standard for years, sends electrical current through metal. Different metals conduct electricity at different rates. Pure silver has a signature. The counterfeits discovered that if they coat the tungsten core with thick enough real silver, the machine only reads the surface. The Sigma passes the fake. Dealers are learning this the hard way. Test with Sigma. Passes by it. Customer brings it back later. Drill test. Tungsten dealer loses money. Customer loses money. Trust collapses further. The solution exists. It's expensive. Ultrasonic thickness gauges work differently. They send sound waves through metal. Sound travels at different speeds through different materials. When sound hits tungsten inside a silver bar, it bounces back differently. The machine sees inside without drilling. Cost: $200 to $500. For serious silver investors, this equipment is becoming mandatory. People stacking thousands of ounces can't afford to be blind anymore. They're purchasing ultrasonic testers the same way they once purchased safes. It's the cheapest insurance policy they'll ever buy. But most retail investors don't know this technology exists. This isn't just about money anymore. This is about what happens when trust in physical assets collapses. For decades, precious metals represented the one tangible alternative to the financial system. The backup plan: when governments print money, when central banks manipulate rates, when financial institutions crumble, silver was supposed to be there. Real, provable, safe. The counterfeit crisis is destroying that narrative. When people discover their silver is fake, something breaks inside them. Not just their bank account, their confidence. Their belief that physical assets are safer than paper. Their faith that they can protect their family's wealth with their own hands. Once that belief is gone, they retreat back into the system. Back into stocks. Back into bonds. Back into the banking structure. Back into the very institutions they were trying to escape. That's the real goal. Because when everyone believes they can't trust physical metals, everyone looks for safety in the centralized system. And when everyone is dependent on the centralized system, control becomes absolute. You're not just holding counterfeit silver. You're participating in the destruction of your own financial alternative. Right now, somewhere in America, another person is opening their safe. They're counting silver bars collected over years. Each one represents sacrifice. They think they're looking at their retirement. They're about to discover they're looking at worthless metal. The question isn't whether this is happening. It's already happened. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Because if you own physical silver right now, You have verified it with advanced equipment. In the last 6 months, you might be holding exactly what they were holding. The only difference between you and that man. Time. One of you hasn't opened the safe yet.